World War II, spanning from 1939 to 1945, was a cataclysmic global conflict involving the majority of the world's nations, including the major powers grouped into two opposing alliances, the Allies and the Axis. This war resulted in significant geopolitical changes and had lasting impacts on the international order. The conflict's roots lay in the aftermath of World War I, the rise of fascism, and the expansionist ambitions of Axis powers, particularly Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. In the Pacific theater, the war was primarily a confrontation between the Allies, led by the United States, and Japan. The conflict began for the United States with the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, which led to a declaration of war against Japan. The Pacific theater was characterized by island-hopping campaigns, fierce naval battles, and brutal ground fighting in places such as Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. The conclusion of the Pacific conflict came after the United States dropped atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945, leading to Japan's surrender on September 2, 1945. The MS short Splice, originally designated as MC Hull 2464, was constructed as a coastal cargo ship. Built by the Consolidated Steel Corporation in Wilmington, California, the short Splice was laid down on January 15, 1945, and launched on March 3, 1945. Sponsored by Mrs. A.O. Weiss, the vessel was delivered to the United States Steamship Lines on May 18, 1945. Initially operated by the War Shipping Administration, she was transferred to the U.S. Army as USAT Short Splice on July 17, 1946. The ship was later acquired by the U.S. Navy on March 1, 1950, where she served under the Military Sea Transportation Service as USNS Short Splice. In her naval career, the Short Splice played a crucial role in logistical operations, supplying military bases and conducting cargo runs. Her service included operations in European ports and along the Atlantic coast before being deployed to the Far East in 1966. In this capacity, she conducted supply runs to Vietnam, Korea, Japan, and the Philippine Islands, among other destinations. Short Splice's visits to the Philippines were part of her broader mission to support American military operations in the Pacific. After the official end of World War II, the Philippines was a significant focus for mopping up operations. These operations involved the cleanup of remaining Japanese forces, the establishment of order, and the rebuilding of infrastructure. The Philippines, having been a major battleground during the war, required extensive efforts to restore normalcy and stability. The U.S. military's presence, supported by vessels like the Short Splice, was vital in these efforts, ensuring the safe transport of supplies, personnel, and equipment necessary for the reconstruction and stabilization of the region. By 1973, the Short Splice was decommissioned and struck from the Naval Register. She was transferred to the Maritime Administration for disposal and was eventually sold for scrapping on August 31, 1973, marking the end of her service.
By my shack, he said I'll be back another day. Now the moon is shining pale on a lonesome gal, leaning on the old top rail in the big corral.
Much obliged you hopped on board for this snazzy trip through American life in the 1940s and 1950s, all captured through nifty vintage photographs. If this flick's got your motor running, don't be a square. Click on that jolly bucket of bolts to subscribe to the channel for more top drawer content just like this.